So wonderful to have our good friend for me, and I called her a guru, and she really is my guru, or at least one of them.
Yeah.
And Reverend Sherry Wynne, just an amazing metaphysical minister, grandmother of the planet, member of the grandmothers who are supporting the planet with their love and net of light, and friend, just fun and funny. I've gone on trips with her, and she is a great travel partner.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was just telling Marcy, I got tears in my eyes still from this one,
Mm.
because there's no more amazing woman to be witnessed by than Rev Sherry to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm having a little moment right now,
She does
but
it so naturally, so authentically, and she owns it too when, when she screws up or when it's not
yeah,
good, she'll say, "Oh, yeah, I messed that up," or and one of the things I love that she'll often do is say, "I give you permission to call me out."
yeah,
And we can do that for each other.
yeah. You guys gonna want to listen to this one for sure.
Reverend Sherry Wynn.
Yeah.
You can hear her every week, or not every week, but you can find her at the Amani Center on our Facebook page. There's lots of talks she gives. And if you like this, go look some of those up.
Yeah, for sure.
The world is a lot right now. Are you feeling it? We all need new tools to help us walk through the chaos with grace, ease, and compassion for each other and for ourselves. In this podcast, you'll hear from parents, educators, and other experts who can bring perspective to the monumental job of parenting. It's time to level up and be warriors for our kids and our communities. This is the Warrior Parent Podcast. I'm Marci Mitchell.
And I'm Debbie DiManno. As parents, we understand that it really does take a village to raise our kids. We hope that this podcast serves to create and support that community for you. Join us as we discuss and practice our core tools, which are proven mind-body techniques that can be used by anyone to improve your life on a daily basis.
Welcome back to the Warrior Parent Podcast. We are always so grateful that you join us. We really appreciate you. Today, we are speaking to our good friend, Reverend Sherry Wynne, who is a longtime minister and founding member of our local spiritual community, the Amani Center, and its ministerial council. Reverend Sherry has been in the New Thought movement for over 40 years. As a child, she had numerous experiences with the non-material world, leaving her with many unanswered questions and leading her to a lifetime inquiry into consciousness and her relationship with the divine. Her spiritual journey has included the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda, the Self-Realization Fellowship, religious science, and the teachings of Ernest Holmes. It was in this discipline that she earned her practitioner license and her certificate of ordination as a minister through the Emerson Theological Institute. She is certified in the 3rd degree of Reiki and as a Traeger practitioner through the Traeger Institute for Psychophysical Integration and Metastics. Developing her intuitional nature has supported her purpose, which is to be in service to the Holy One and all of life. Reverend Sherry says this is her joy and a piece of this service, helping in creating and supporting collaborative spiritual communities where she loves to teach and to speak. She is committed to showing up in her purpose on the planet as a source of love and light through the chaos, the noise, and the unfoldment of something better. And she is also my guru. So welcome, Reverend Sherry Wynne.
Oh, that's too much. Don't make me your guru.
Sorry, you kind of are.
Well, this is a special day for Marcy and I because can I refer to you as Rev Sherry because
Yeah,
that's what we
yeah,
call you.
Rev Sherry works.
So Rev Sherry is here with us today. Marcy and I have known her for gosh, maybe more than 10 years now or so. And she is near and dear to our heart. Rev Sherry is the things I love about her is she's very raw. She's completely authentic,
Yes.
and she's been known to throw an F-bomb once in a while. So you guys are in for a treat today. And we really brought her here because we're really interested in talking about feminine energy. And I don't know that many of our listeners really understand what that is why that's important for this time on the planet. And Marci and I are preparing in the next week to do a live podcast. So this is a little bit of preparation for that podcast and what we're going to be discussing. So we thought it appropriate to bring Sherry in to have this discussion today. So without further ado, Rev Sherry, I'm going to let you take it from here. If you want to give us a little bit of background and how you came to be, and then give us a little definition or maybe your own definition of what feminine energy is.
Well, how I got here today is I just kept waking up on the planet.
That's a good day.
You
That's a
know,
good day.
and learning is never outside of my field. I'm always interested and curious about the things I don't understand, which are many, and I'm willing to show up. About myself, it's been a long journey. I would have to say that I've had many chapters that have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it's always curious to me that people don't believe in reincarnation, because if they look back at their life, well, there it is. And
Yes.
so I'm at a chapter of my life as an elder where I'm having to face things about my body that are challenges to me, and about the world that's sort of like everybody else. I swim in the same pool, so I hear a lot of stuff. Sometimes I have to take time out. So one of the things I have learned over the years as a female, I came into this, I like to call it, there's a skin suit. It's a container for all that what we are. And it includes lots of realities and lots of experiences. And I've had a bumpy road as a female. I came from a culture and a family that was very loving. And I was first, like all of us, I was first a child, the daughter of, and then I became the sister of, and then I became the schoolmate of and the playmate of, and then I became the mother of and the wife of. And at some point in my life, I woke up and went, who the heck am I?
Mhm.
You know, I just really, I didn't have an answer to that question, because I was everything to everybody else. And I did my very best to be what I thought the world wanted me to be. And I didn't fit in. I didn't fit in big time. And I asked all the wrong questions. And so it's been a process of discovery.
Yeah.
And I think if where we're at in the world, the biggest job we can do is to relearn how to trust ourselves, because there's a billion ways in which life is in humanity, and none of them are wrong. They're just unique to each of us.
Mhm.
I love what you say, and Marci has been wanting to have you on for so long, as you call yourself an elder, right? And I think, we always say that, wisdom, comes as we get older, and as you profess to say, I think I would have to agree with you that the more I know, the older I get, I feel like the less I know. Right? And I think that moves with us through time. And I think there's a lot of humility that comes with aging, and a lot of grace that you must give yourself as we're aging, right?
Right.
And especially as women.
I want to follow up on what Debbie just said and what you were saying, that the older we get, sometimes the less we know. But the other thing that you had said also was that you go within and you trust yourself, and that's one of the lessons that I really learned well from you and from another minister at the center, Reverend Belinda. I took years of practitioner training at our center, and you were one of my teachers. Reverend Belinda was also, and there were some other people who were teachers, and it was a remarkable transformative experience. But that turning within, which we talk about on the show all the time, going within and trusting that connection, is so empowering. And it's almost ironic, because sounds like you think you know everything, you're going within, but it really is a releasing of the ego and turning in towards that. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because another thing I wanted to say is I see you do that a lot. That's always something I've noticed about you. When someone asks you a question or when you're thinking or when you're talking, you will pause. And I mean, I can visually see you check in and then go on. Let's talk a little
Well,
bit about that.
I wasn't trained to do that. I didn't
Mhm.
get that in my world, but I had something that happened in 1993 where I had a complete meltdown. Everything stopped working. And the thing that was still alive was what I call my spiritual self or my higher self.
Mhm.
And it took sort of that for me to get an awareness of, oh, I've always had that. And now how do I cultivate that? What do I do to stay in touch with that? And I don't know about you, but being a woman, especially in the age that I was in, what I saw in the world was there wasn't a lot of opportunities for me to be me. And, I couldn't look up in the newspaper and go, oh, you could have this job. No, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
So I sort of made a bargain at that time with what I call God, or you can name it whatever you want. Okay, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. You take care of marketing, take care of my health, you take care of all these things, and I'll do what as a spirit when I incarnated to do, which was to serve the Holy One in all life. And I don't even know what that means, but I agreed that that would start my process. And so I had to learn different tools and techniques to steady my crazy self up because I have a very busy mind and the world is full of interesting things. And there's lots of people out there that I like what they do and I don't like what they do. And how come they're doing that? And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so can't we all get along together? And,
Yeah.
all of that. And all of us have those kinds of conversations. And I think
Yeah.
not especially, but maybe more so female. So to digress a bit, what is feminine energy? I like to think of feminine energy. There's something that women do that men can't, which is to hold life. So we hold life there. So we are a container, if you will. The feminine energy is a container that holds life.
Yeah.
And male and female have that ability to hold life. And that kind of life, the feminine energy, is more about being receptive. And I feel like I'm more receptive when I'm at peace with myself. I can be more at peace with the world.
Yeah.
When a tornado shows up in my life, I don't want to be on the outer periphery with everybody else.
Right.
I want to be centered and in my capacity to be the container, hold peace, hold compassion, hold life.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of learning for me, in being steady in my own self while I'm walking around in my skin suit in the world and all this stuff is meeting me.
Yeah.
It might be, I'm having a good day and I met some great things and, oh, no, not so much. What do I do with that?
Yeah.
So as we're defining the feminine, it's so many things that you've just pointed out. Dude, I love what you said about the container. So that's nurturing, right? Whether we're
Right.
nurturing our puppies or
Yes.
our people or
Yes.
our earth or whatever that is, it's kindness, right?
Yes.
It's kindness for all of those in our world. It's cooperation, right? It's creative and compassionate, empathic. And the biggest thing that you just said is intuition, right? And I think from my experience, I had to learn that too, because I also had an NDE, and that's the piece that I held to get me well also. It's like being with your gut and being with your intuition. And I think what you're saying is all the noise that's going on the planet, all the distractions, whether you have ADD or whatever you we all got something, right? But it's the sense of being able to trust your intuition, to be with a thought and hold it in your belly, and it helps to make wise decisions, right? And so I think, there's all this nonsense going around, you know, feminine and masculine and, gender, and everyone wants to sort of, you know, criticize, and it's a terrible place for that right now. And I'm just wanting to be really clear with those who are listening about what the feminine energy really is. Now,
Well,
feminine energy can show up in a man, right?
yes,
And
yes,
should.
and there is a yin and yang. There's
Yeah.
a polarity of consciousness. We have to have the masculine energy, or we'd all be sitting home doing nothing. We need to go, there's a place to express that. So during this time in our lives, we're being, and the divine mother energy has come back on the planet in a big way. It was sort of marginalized, killed off, demonized, all of that. We understand that. People that have done some study about things out of the ordinary, or explore deeper avenues to find a way to where they can get in touch with their central self, whatever you call that. There is this that we're going through now, which calls upon us to go deeper. But the mother energy is back on the planet.
Yay.
No, and the mother energy, that divine energy can also be like this. It can be like you got a little kid and you've taught them all the rules, and they know the rules, and to, because we're going to teach them how to be safe and how to, show up in the world and be kind and compassionate, all there. And he lets go of your hand and he's going to run out in the street. Well, your big mama energy, your divine energy is going to do whatever it is to save that soul.
Mhm.
So there's that capacity to be really big and to be very, very powerful, and to
Yes.
say, oh no, we're not having this anymore.
Yeah. Mama bear, feminine
Yeah,
energy.
so that is
Yeah.
part of the divinity too, but it's
Yeah.
not an exclusion of others.
Yes. Yes.
And this is what is the hardest part for us now, to include all that other that is just crazy.
Yes.
Mhm.
We, as the divine mother energy, as the feminine energy, just gets to send out a blessing to that too. Even those that are got the masks on, that are looking, yeah, well, we won't go down that path, but
Yeah. Not for this one, maybe next week.
That's the
Yeah.
challenge, right? Is
Yeah.
like you said, in the tornado, you got the tornado. We're all in the tornado, but the choice is: are you hanging on the outside, swinging by your hair and in utter chaos, or can you come to that centered place where you're calmer, your nervous system is regulated, and then you're able to respond rather than react from crazy? And so we're seeing some things show up that are pretty crazy, pretty chaotic, sometimes very violent, very ugly, very unkind. And you've talked several times at the Amani Center, where you speak regularly about these old paradigms dying. And it's something that you've said several times. It helps to bring me back to the ground when I start to say, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, look at all this. That helps to bring me back. Share a little bit about what that means and how that's unfolding.
I'll give you something, an image that was given to me that you can follow along with, and then I'll tell you about it. So imagine there's a speaker, and he has this beautiful goblet of water, a pitcher of water that's crystal clear. And then right by that is this little bag, brown bag, like a lunch bag. And he's got a spoon and he's taking dirt out of it. And he's just putting it in there while he's talking, and it settles to the bottom. And then he asks people, how do you get this sediment, this dirt out of this pitcher without turning it upside down? How do you do that? Well, do you know?
You just have to let it settle, I imagine.
Well,
Right?
but it's still there and you want crystal clear water. What do you do to get that sediment? You add more water, crystal clear water. And what happens when that crystal clear water enters into that vase or that
It
pitcher?
just becomes more diluted.
It becomes cloudy and filmy and you can't see.
Oh,
And
right,
now
right.
now eventually all the dirt will be gone. So if we
Mhm.
look at this like a metaphor for this vehicle that we're in, that have energy channels that burst through the seven, right? And we have stored experiences at all these channels, individually and collectively. And so we're praying, we're asking for peace. What is that? We're bringing light into the unconscious part of us. We're drawing light into, we're making light shine upon. And so as it enters each one of us, and as it enters just collectively, what we have is the debris. This is the debris, and this is what it looks like. This is what fear looks like when it doesn't get to be in charge again.
Mm.
Wow.
This is what social inequality looks like when when we're bringing light to the situation. So, and most people don't know that. So they're caught up in that out there. And so there has to be people like us and other people that we connect with that know how to stay steady.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That
it's
know how to bring that kindness.
it's showing up to be healed, as
Yes,
you say
yes,
so
yes,
often. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
And
there's
that's
so
exactly what I'm talking about, that you do for me and have done for me many times, that I can start to get ratcheted up, and then you could talk about this, and then you're like my touchstone. And so that's what you're saying, more people doing this, and then I can do it for someone else.
Yes.
And it can ripple out to where, instead of all of us being swinging at the outskirts, screaming and going crazy, we start to come into the center and say, it's okay, keep shining the light, keep showing up, what is mine to do? Because that's not mine to do, being out on the outside going, oh, that's
yeah.
not helping.
So for people who are listening, like, give us some ways that we could embrace the feminine energy. Like, what are some
Well, the
things
first thing
that
you
you
do
do?
is you just put your hand on your heart.
Mhm.
Yes.
You know, it's you can put your hand on your heart. You can go stand in front of the mirror and go, yeah, you're still here. You're doing a good job. You've been here a long time, even though it's been messy. You're still showing up. Can you be kind to yourself?
Yeah.
So look at
Yeah.
yourself. Do you have the tools to be kind? What would it look like if you were kind to yourself today? What would it look like if you gave yourself a break?
Took
What
a
would
breath.
it look like if you didn't run yourself into the ground?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's other things too, right? There's moving your body.
Yes.
Yes, right? We talked
Yes.
about just simple movement. Again, no, so we're going into tools because this is what Marci and I do really good. Like, we get excited about this stuff, right? But I think everybody just needs some practical tools,
Well,
right?
it's laughter, it's dance, it's
Yes.
music, it's being outside, it's appreciating nature, it's being willing to be childlike and be in awe
Yes.
of the ordinary.
Yes.
You don't have to go anywhere. You just have to open up to the possibility that wherever you are,
Yeah.
goodness is available to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's making me think of Simone Biles, and by the time this is airing, the Olympics will probably have just finished, but she's just a remarkable light on the planet right now. And so at the last Olympics, she's showing up, and she's been doing this since she was just a little 4-year-old or whatever. But at the last Olympics, she felt
Overwhelmed.
overwhelmed. She got, her mental health was in danger, and she said to herself and to her team, I got to step back. This is not good for me. And received, I mean, that was incredibly brave to
Yeah.
do that. But also, she was just demonstrating what you just said. She looked at
Yes.
herself in the mirror and said, hey, can you give yourself a break? And maybe this isn't what you need to do. Step back. And some people were like, oh, well, that's it for her, she's done. No, she came back this time. She is killing it.
Yes.
And just showing up so beautiful and more in her power, and just being able to be this force of light, this fantastic example for everyone on the planet,
Yeah.
but particularly Black girls and women. And yeah, it's all coming from this feminine energy that can be strong and the best gymnast in the world, the original goat, and then also say, not today. Today I take care of me. Today I need to go and
Absolutely.
rest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're living in an incredible time where we
Yes.
can find extraordinary examples of that.
Yes.
People, teachings, opportunities. We're not without ways and means. And so I would speak to the people that are listening to trust your own self. The feminine energy is like, okay, you've got this. You can do this.
Yeah.
You were made for this time. You showed up to be who you are, so be the best you can be. I know all of this we've heard before, and nothing is essentially new, but we need to talk about it often because it
Yeah.
helps us to
Yeah.
stay the course.
Yeah.
And maybe
I-
it is new for some people, and not
Yeah.
everybody is in the environment that we are that's so
Oh, that's
positive and open. And so I do hope people just listened to what Reverend Sherry said, because she was talking to you. You were born for this. You wouldn't be
Yeah.
here if
Yeah.
you didn't have a purpose, if you weren't up to the task. Really do hear that.
the same spark that created all life is in all life.
Mm,
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if you're a bum on the street,
yes.
if you're an elected official, I remember way back when I was a candy striper and I was sent, I did some work or volunteerism at a Norwalk State Institute.
Mm.
Wow.
And I was like 12 or 13 years old, and they locked you in. And I remember there was this beautiful Black woman, and the only reason she was there is because she had no family and nobody to take care of her. And she was totally blind, and she would sit at the piano and make music.
Mm.
And she was such a healing energy. I went back there solely so I could be in her divine presence while she made this music. And she never complained. She just did who she was.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was an extraordinary example.
So it's interesting when I was preparing, getting a little background for this discussion. I learned about these levels of feminine energy. So you describe this woman, and for you also, like they talk about a level 7 feminine energy, right? And that's an energy that just devotes their entire life to making the world a better place.
Mm.
Right?
Well,
Like
Mother
I'd
Teresa,
never heard that before. But that
look at Mother Teresa and
yes.
Mandela.
Mm.
Yes.
That purpose of the heart that he kept bringing, the Dalai Lama. I mean, the feminine energy is in lots of places besides just
Yes.
women. And
Yes.
it's like, there's some extraordinary examples everywhere. You both have been examples to me. Very much so. It's very reciprocal.
Yeah.
This is not a one-way street. This
Yes.
is reciprocity. It works both ways.
Yeah. One of the things that I love that I know you participate in and that you introduced me to is this idea of the grandmothers,
Mhm.
and this idea of this wisdom of the grandmothers and showing up. And I know that this is a very specific thing from a woman who had an experience and wrote a book, but talk a little bit about the grandmothers and how that energy, that grandmother energy, is showing up on the planet now, and how you're participating.
I think the ingredients to that is to recognize that there's been an indigenous culture here for generations.
Mhm.
And we dismiss it because it doesn't fit in the box of what our Eurocultural dynamic is. But
Yeah.
people that live close to the earth, they have a respect for life, and they essentially have a respect for people that have been here a longer time.
Mhm.
And grandmothers in the indigenous culture were the elder wise women. They were the wise ones. They were the one that brought the messages from the non-material world into the material.
Mhm.
So they had access to that non-material world, and that's who brought the rituals, is the feminine people. The feminine energy in the elders they did the sitting and the waiting upon the non-material to show them what was right for the tribe, what was right for, and that's been around for a long, long time, but it's been covered up.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
calling on the grandmothers, calling on any aspect of the divine, any aspect of intelligence and light and wisdom, doesn't matter what culture you're in, there's a pathway to that in you.
Mhm.
You just have to ask for it.
Yeah.
I love that then you can do that, and I've done that since you've introduced me to that, calling on the grandmothers for for help or wisdom, and you can
And
you
in
can see it
particular,
rising.
in particular, and because it's the reemergence of the feminine energy on the planet right now, because that's the balancing point for us. They do a process called casting the net, which, you know, in NASA now they have scientific evidence. This is the most original form of life that they can measure, is that they can see it now, that we're all connected. So when we look at something that's not okay, you just call the grandmothers in and, you know, cast the net of light to our social economics, cast the net of light to our politics, cast the net of light to that person over there that's angry, whatever. And as they say, all we have to do is ask. Then we have to trust that it's being done.
Yeah. You know, I learned from a very wise man, and I'm going to give him a shout out here, which is our good friend Gary Ferguson.
We all knew who you were going to say.
Oh my God, I know. I get a tear thinking about it, but there was something that he profoundly taught me when I met him 12, 15 years ago. And of course, Gary's gone now, but he's still giving messages, by the way.
Just off the planet.
Yes, but he
Still
would just
here.
continue to say that we need more divine energy. You know, Debbie, like, I know, like, I'll be gone, but I know this has to happen for us to move into a better place in the planet. Right. And that's why he was willing, a man who had gone through Vietnam and alcoholism and all that he went through, you know, by the time he was in his 70s, was so clear about the changes that had to happen in our world. And, you know, and so for us to be here having this conversation, and Rev Share is able to talk about this place that we're at, and it is coming. It is coming. Right. And
I like that you brought Gary up, because I don't ever want the conversation about the divine feminine rising to feel anti-men, because it's not. And I feel like we've done a disservice to men. And I've said this before, because we've told them this is what you have to be, and you can't cry, and you can't feel, and you just go out and you better make money, and you better earn, and you don't be with your feelings, which is just utter bullshit. And, you know, people like Gary went through some really rough stuff from in Vietnam, very, very much on the ground, face to face with the violence, with the death, with the blood, you know, having all these experiences, and coming back and being told to be a man or suck it up. You know, that's not how you deal with it. And he created a whole nonprofit about how do we feel these feelings and release our trauma. But this is like the men, there's a lot of pain in this masculine, or what people think is masculine vibe, versus being a true whole person, having your feminine and your masculine, and being able to feel your feelings and have emotions, and hold your son and cry together, or whatever it is. That doesn't take away from your masculinity. It strengthens the whole. And I hope we do better. I want us to do better for men and boys.
That's why I'm so proud of both of you women to do what you're doing, because you have gone through the process to bring this to the public. And this is good medicine. This helps people to make things real and talk about things that are difficult to talk about, but also to give tools.
Yes.
Yeah. I was reading about about modern masculinity. So they were defining like the old masculinity versus the new. And so the new one describes integrity, authenticity, being emotionally expressive and vulnerable. It talks about power equals, it's not potent or antagonistic.
Right. It's not for controlling others.
Yeah. It's challenging without shaming. It's grounding without rigidity, and it's forceful without being pushy. I just like that just sounds
lovely.
That's like really beautiful, right? Like those are the men that we want to show up right now. And if they're able to be in that place, and women are allowed to be feminine, wow, like That's a new paradigm for the planet, right? That's a
Well,
that's
And
a huge shift of consciousness.
well, and allows men and women to share both of those energies.
yes,
Yes.
Because there'll be times when we're called to use one or the other, but how do we do
right.
it? We have to
Right.
be good models for one another.
Yeah, it
And
became so polarized, and that was never the intention. It's just
No.
like this idea of people showing up as non-binary in their gender. It's not all male or all female. Like there's plenty of people that are in this place in between. That's the non-binary as you show up, as how how you feel as you show up on the planet physically, but it's also within each of us, the non-binary, the feminine, the masculine, the coming back and forth. And the other piece of that, and is as women allowing men to show up in this with their femininity, with their vulnerability, with their tears, with their emotions. And I think a lot of men feel like they're going to be rejected for that. And and they will be by some people. We have to show up to say, no, thank you. Thank you for showing that. And I'm so grateful for you. And now I feel closer. And now, we can connect on a deeper level because I trust you, because you've opened up, and now I can open up. And it just creates this whole safe, wonderful, rich space where we can really be ourselves and feel our feelings and have real conversations. And that's just so important right now.
well, it's a long time coming, but it's certainly
Yes.
apparent that it's here.
Yes.
Yes.
And here's another thing that just a little tidbit is what you expect to happen on the outside world happens. So if you expect things are going to be lousy, well, then there's a good chance they will be. Because we carry that creative energy that's always going on. So you dip your toe in the water and go, even in the midst of this crazy, I'm going to expect that there's a good outcome. Then you will be the recipient of that. You will see that, you will get evidence of that. And that's what we need to share with one another, because what's being shared out there it's not a model that's useful anymore
Yeah. Or sustainable.
or sustainable. Yes.
We won't sustain this at the rate we're going, right? Like we won't.
Yeah, I love that you choose where you focus, and there's so much good to focus on. And also when we're in the midst of things that are so dark or feel so dark, we can say, like you say, something better is unfolding. Like this is just the residue of the dirt coming up, and I'm looking at it and whoa, it looks awful, but I know that something better is unfolding. I know that dirt is pouring out, and that the clean, the light, the love is coming in. And I know that, yes, we've done it this way for thousands of years, but we're changing. And just because we did it that way doesn't mean we can't do something different. And now we're becoming more aware. And as Debbie and I always talk about, these younger generations are coming up, and they're not carrying all the dirt. They're coming in without it. And so
And
that's why
trying to keep we're trying to keep it away from them.
yeah, well,
So
we're
that's our
showing up to
job.
support them, to say, hey, okay, you
Yeah.
tell us what do you need, and to be part of because we're handing it off to them, so we can show up in that grandmother energy, cast our net of light, and lift them, whatever that takes, so that they can take the next step. And it's going to be different. It's going to be so much better. So being part of that it's exciting, and it's important, and it's why we're here.
Well, and I have people ask me, they want proof that this works. And what I say to people is, are you willing to do the work?
Mm-hmm.
Proof is in you. You have to test it and discover, does that work? And what's getting in your way of working? So I was with a friend yesterday, and we were talking about some of what Lynn Anderson said.
Mm.
And one of her things that she said all the time is, you just do you. You just do you, and you make a better you, then you'll influence what's around you.
It's an inside job. That's what
Inside
Marci and I,
Yeah.
every podcast, it's an inside job.
Yes.
Inside job.
Oh my gosh.
It
I think
really
we're
is.
running out of time, Sherry.
I know, that's why I want to just drop that one.
I
Let's
know.
say thank you
We
so much.
pearl of wisdom. We have a special question for you. As we've been talking about this, this is our month that we are dedicating the month of August to women's equity. And that is based on Women's Equity Day, which is a nationally recognized day, and it's August 26th. But we dedicated the whole month to it, and it has turned out to be just fantastic. And just keep in mind, we're doing this obviously in July as we're prepping for August. And we picked this theme very like days before the whole presidential race shifted to a feminine equity energy. So this stuff does work. I'm proving it to myself every day. So
Yes.
but anyway, our question that we are asking all of our guests in August is what woman or women is or are inspiring you right now?
Well, I would say there's no particular woman. I have the blessing of having many women in my life.
Mhm.
And I would love to say there's a particular woman, but there isn't. There's been many women and many people in my life that has inspired me. And I'll take it from wherever I can get it.
Yes, please.
Yeah, from wherever I can get it. But I am inspired by what's in the field now, and I look to other women as a resource.
Yeah. Lots of
For me,
answers there.
right now at this particular stage.
Yeah.
I mean, I could name a lot of women I've read, a
know.
lot of women, but that's.
I love that answer. I love that answer.
It does just show too, or demonstrate further that the women are showing up. They're showing up.
Yes.
They're showing up.
Yes.
So much gratitude for that, and for you for
Yeah.
showing up and saying yes to being here on the Warrior
Thank
Parent
you so much.
Podcast.
You
Oh, we're so
lovely
grateful for
women.
you.
I love you so much.
We love you
so much.
too.
Thank you, Reverend Sherry.
And now for your core mental health break. This is your opportunity to take a moment to support your mental wellness, your peace of mind, your own ease and grace. Take some time every day to support your mental health. You deserve it, and it matters. So let's just take a moment to breathe. We'll take 3 deep intentional breaths to just bring ourselves to a place of center and calm. So breathing in through the nose, allow your chest and your belly to fill with air. Pause for a moment at the top of the breath, holding it before you release it. You can blow it out through your mouth, like you're blowing it out through a straw, or just release it through your nose if that's more comfortable. And now again, receiving that breath in, filling the chest, filling the belly, pausing at the top of the breath, and then release it all. Releasing it slowly and intentionally, calming your nervous system. One more time. Breathing in, pausing at the top, and releasing. Thank you for pausing for yourself today. Your mental health is important, and you deserve peace, calm, and ease in your life every day. So please, choose to receive it. It is always available right at your center, your heart, your core. Stay well, friends. Thanks for listening to the Warrior Parent Podcast, which is a production of our nonprofit, Cour Experience, who also creates and distributes Cour tools. You can find us at courexperience.org. Make sure you join us next week for another informative conversation to help you and your family show up mindfully, purposefully, and joyfully with each other and in your community.
Our Core Tools platform consists of a number of proven tools and techniques that are designed to reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm in spite of what's going on in your world. We want to thank Samuel Hale, LLC, for sponsoring this podcast. Technical and marketing support comes from Inspire Your Brand. Our podcast editor is Justin Beeden. Opinions expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts, the producers, or the financial supporters. I'm Debbie DiManno.
And I'm Marci Mitchell. Thanks for listening. If you resonate with the idea of creating a community to help support kids and families, won't you join us by following the podcast and sharing this episode? You can even write a review. It truly does take a village, and we appreciate you.